What is going on, guys? Welcome back to a new video, and today we're going to be taking a step back in time and looking at the background of Sauron. Now, Sauron was also known as Anatar or Myron at the beginning of time. Now, many of you guys who have not read the books or do not know who Sauron is, he is one of the greatest villains to exist in film history, and he was heavily featured in the Lord of the Rings trilogy as well as the Hobbit trilogy. And many of you guys may not know his background. So I'm going to be taking a step back in history and looking at what he has done in the past. So Sauron, which is also known as a Deceiver, was not always a villain, which the films portray him to be. Well, at least this wasn't the case from the beginning of time. Sauron's original name was Myron. This translates to the admirable, and he was an ancient spirit also known as the Maiar. This is the singular version of the Maiar, which are the ancient spirits which descended onto Earth, which is also known as Ardar, to help the Valar to shape the world in their own image. During this time, Myron was as Eru had created him. He was good and uncorrupt, and his greatest virtue was his love and order for perfection, and he disliked anything wasteful. However, this would prove to be his downfall, because in secret the Dark Lord Morgoth saw the will and power that would help him achieve his own goals and desires faster if he had pursued them on his own. Now, Morgoth, if you do not know who he is, Morgoth was an Ainur. The Ainur was also known as the Holy Ones. They are the beings that encircled both the Valar and the Maiar, which Sauron was part of. Melkor, which is also Morgoth's name, was known as one of the most powerful of the Ainur. But it was a short-lived title, as he rebelled against his creator out of his pride and sought to corrupt Ardar, which is also known as Earth. And therefore, after committing many evil acts, and he therefore received the name which many know him by now, Morgoth. Now, it is important to understand that Sauron was not the first Dark Lord, but in fact it was Morgoth, also known as Melkor, and it was he who led Sauron onto the path through darkness and corruption. It was not long before Morgoth named Sauron his most trusted lieutenant and charged him with carrying many evil acts in his name to spread fear and darkness across all of Middle-earth. Myron, also known as Sauron, maintained his appearance of being faithful to the Valar, but secretly he fed Morgoth information about their dealings. It was only when Morgoth established his strongholds in Middle-earth that Sauron left the Blessed Realms and openly declared his allegiance for Morgoth. And ever since then, he remained a foe of the Valar and the free peoples of Middle-earth. Before Melkor's captivity, Sauron commanded the fortress of Angband and served as Melkor's most trusted lieutenant. After Melkor was defeated by Valar Turkas, bound with a specially forged chain and brought to the Valinor, where he was imprisoned in the Hall of Mandos for 3 ages. Sauron hid, and after lying dormant for 500 years, he began revealing himself once more. Sauron gathered his power and established himself in the land of Mordor in eastern Middle-earth, and began building the dreaded Dark Lord of Barad-dûr near Mount Doom. He was still under the influence of Morgoth and began building his armies of orcs and trolls in his bid to carry out the work of Melkor and dominate all of Middle-earth. In the Second Age, Sauron saw the opportunity to bring all elves, men, and dwarves to his will, and therefore disguised himself as an elf by the name of Anatar. He was also known as the Lord of Gifts. It was afterwards that Sauron befriended elvish smiths from Eregion, and one smith which stands out is Celebrimbor. Celebrimbor was the greatest craftsman and helped him craft the Rings of Power. However, not all elves trusted Sauron's disguise as Anatar, but to the elves who listened and trusted him, Sauron gave knowledge and encouraged them in forging the Rings of Power, though in secret little did they know that Sauron forged his own one ring to rule the elvish rings. Upon that ring, Sauron left a black speech inscription, which I will let you guys listen to right now.
Isildur's bane is found. Isildur's bane.
However, as soon as Sauron put the ring on his finger, the elves sensed his treachery and removed the rings and hid them. Enraged, Sauron came against them in open war and demanded that all rings of power were returned to him. The elves managed to hide the 3 rings from him, but the other 16 rings of power were either captured by Sauron, destroyed, or lost. The dwarves were not easily corrupted, and were able to resist the darkness and corruption of the rings given to them by the Lord of Gifts, also known as Sauron. However, the 9 men were all corrupted by the rings given to them, and they became the Nazgul, also known as the Ringwraiths, and were a powerful addition to Sauron's army. At the end of the Second Age, a huge alliance of men and elves formed in order to take down Sauron and his armies, and together they outmatched Sauron's strength, and Isildur, the son of the king of Gondor, took up his father's sword and cut the 1 ring from Sauron's finger. Sauron's physical body was destroyed, with nearly all of his power stored in the ring. He was vanquished when it was cut from his finger. Without their leader's dark will driving them on, Sauron's armies were routed and fled, and thus his campaign to defeat the 3 peoples was seemingly ended, with his greatest weapon taken from him. However, Isildur did not have the courage to destroy the 1 ring in the fires of Mount Doom and decided to take it for himself, which proved to be his downfall. An era of peace began to settle on Middle-earth, but it was not long before Sauron's spirit began to make an appearance once again, as the 1 ring was never destroyed, and so Sauron's spirit still lingered. Though greatly weakened and without a physical form, he still existed, and started slowly making his appearance as the Necromancer in Dol Guldur. In secret, he was gathering his strength with all the elves and dwarves and men, unaware of his powerful uprising.
Mod eken skeldu. Zannathaka slangum. Tolo sabala.
He still existed, and this was due to him pouring most of his native power, strength, and will into the 1 ring. Therefore, as long as it existed, he could never be truly defeated, and during the first 1,000 years of the Third Age, he lay hiding, slowly recovering his strength, until he was once again able to create a body for himself. And my friends, the rest is history. Thank you guys for listening, and I hope this was interesting. If you guys enjoyed, please leave a like. If you want to see any other Middle-earth character, if you want to see their history and background, I'll happily take a look at it and prepare a long history video again, talking about the character. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoy it, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.